Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another installment of The Real Podcasters, the show where we like to talk all things movies, TV shows, video games, and a bunch of other things in no particular order. My name's Reagan, as ever, and I'm joined once again by my absolutely psychotic co-host. It's Dan.
Hello, you motherly decaying corpse.
I was just trying to be quite standard with the insult, and once again, you have just gone straight for the jugular every time.
Yeah, man.
As you do. Obviously, I'm referring to Dan as psychotic because we are talking about the 65th anniversary of Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, which, once again, with a lot of these retrospectives, it's a little bit scary to say this movie's 65 years old because I don't really think it's aged a day. Quite frankly, I don't know how Dan feels. He could be once again playing the absolute longest game, and he thinks that this film is so mid, although I know that's not actually the case.
Well, there you go. there you go.
The end. No, so as ever with these retrospectives, we'll get into our personal history as ever, a little bit on the production, the cast, a little bit of trivia, reactions back then, and our reactions now. Weirdly, I think, and you can tell me if I'm wrong on this one, Dan, I believe our personal history with this film is pretty much identical, both in terms of where we first saw it and when. Mm-hmm. Because I saw this for the first time about 10 years ago at college, of all places, and I've got a hankering that was the same for you, because we were in separate classes at that point.
Completely different, actually, and mine's worse.
Okay, never mind.
Mine's so much worse.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah,
we can get to yours first then, because I've just said mine, that's it.
Right, so I didn't get to Psycho for quite some time. I mean, I don't know how many years ago, but, watched it 5 years ago plus. My first instance of it was actually the Vincent Vaughn remake,
which I just saw literally 48 hours ago. We could say this.
Yeah, that was my first instance of it because I just got given a load of horror DVDs. There was Nightmare on Elm Street, that version of Psycho, Texas, just loads of horror DVDs for me to just sit and watch through. And then when you see the original Psycho compared to that, it's just essentially Psycho in colour, more or less, and with a guy who is a hell of a lot less talented than Anthony Perkins. I mean, because it's just shot for shot. It's not really anything of an interesting remake. It's just Psycho in colour.
Yeah,
that's it. That's about it.
Yeah, I'll definitely speak a little bit more on the remake a little bit later, but I don't absolutely... it is a 1 out of 5 movie. I'm not going to sugarcoat it at all.
Oh, yeah, it's like, why is this even a thing?
Yeah, the one thing I'll say about Vince Vaughn on it before we delve into the actual movie, the movie that we want to talk about, is that I don't think it's Vaughn's fault. He just should not have been cast. He shouldn't have been anywhere near this movie because he is a really good actor in other things.
Just not this. He's not really Norman in Psycho. He's just Vince. Vincent Perkins.
Normish,
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I didn't realise it because I know that we watched it in college, and because we were technically in the same classes but in a different year, I just made the bold assumption that you'll have watched it as well.
Oh no, never, ever.
Granted, I still don't know why we did.
The only bloody films I watched in college, full feature film, was
This Is England.
Was Mad Max Fury Road.
What?
Weirdly enough. Yeah, I don't know why, but we just decided one day we were all going to watch Mad Max Fury Road for whatever reason.
I'll hide my
no
opinions
idea
on
why.
Fury Road because we're never doing a retrospective on it.
And do you know what it is? I saw that in the cinema as well, and then a year later saw it in bloody classroom. I was like, I'm starting to think my lecturer really likes this film.
I can understand why. I'm just very, very biased. I just don't care for it, at all. Sorry.
Yeah, I never had that privilege of watching the original Psycho until just eventually deciding to watch the original one day, 5+ years ago. Mm-hmm. And it is probably the absolute definition of horror cinema.
See, that's quite interesting because, I mean, especially when I rewatched it I think it was about a couple of weeks ago, I think I labelled it more of a thriller than a horror, and I don't know if I'm very much in the minority for that because it, despite the fact that the movie doesn't feel like it was made in 1960. It feels like it was made with a lot of pretense. Honestly, for me, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, I feel like if Wes Craven was knocking around in the 60s, he would have made a damn good version of Psycho that was very similar to this in that it, and I do mean that as a bit of praise. I mean, both are fantastic filmmakers, but there's something about Psycho that puts it completely out of time with the 60s, and you can watch this again in another 20 years when it's 85 years old.
Feels very timeless, like it just doesn't seem to age at all, despite it being made in the 60s. It's mental. No,
definitely not. In terms of the actual production of the movie, I mean, of course, it's based on Robert Bloch's 1959 novel of the same name. Hitchcock bought the book rights almost immediately and bought up as many of the books as humanly possible to prevent any spoilers leaking for the film. Bear in mind, this guy's in the 50s doing this. This is the kind of crap that like we would pull now. It's insane.
Yeah.
But even Hitchcock, he was very selective with how he wanted to produce the movie because I think even he could tell that no one would want to finance a movie like this because it's just too graphic, even though it's not really.
Again, like a very shocking film for the 60s, you know?
Yeah. So in this case, despite the fact he'd literally shot North by Northwest previously, big, grand in scope and in colour as well, he chose to shoot Psycho in black and white. He used the crew from his TV show Alfred Hitchcock Presents as well to try because he very much maintained that he could shoot this film for less than $1 million at the time, and he did. The budget was around $807,000, which is terrifying, frankly, just because like you see every single cent of that.
I wonder what it would be in like nowadays. Obviously, that money back then with like inflation and stuff like that. Does it tell you or?
Well, what I will say is that he didn't take his usual salary of $250,000 and basically just did a George Lucas and took a stake out of the box office instead of his usual salary. So it made $50 million at the box office, which today, $385 million.
Good grief.
Good old Alfred was absolutely minted after this.
Good grief, yeah.
But to make it even scarier, it was the second highest grossing film in 1960 behind Spartacus. I'm like, really? That is like the next level? I was like, wow, okay. But obviously, famously, he told cinemas that they weren't allowed to admit anyone into the movie screenings if they were late, and the marketing went to great lengths to hide any footage from the movie as well. Instead, the most famous trailer, which I have seen, it's so surreal. It's an advert. It's about 5 minutes long, and it's just Hitchcock walking around the sets of Psycho, sort of hinting at things that are going to happen. Which I will say, this actually, we're employing something similar at work, where we're doing some stuff for Halloween, and for the trailer, we're not going to show any footage from the shorts that we've done, and we're just going to have lingering shots of the locations.
See, I wish modern horror trailers would just go back to this kind of thing of like, we're not going to reveal absolutely anything, so if you want to see what happens, go to it.
Yeah.
Go see the film.
No.
Like, because to me, a lot of, I mean, there was a film quite a while ago, a Blumhouse production called Tarot, and basically the plot of it is, like, you know, like tarot cards. It turns out these tarot cards are like linked to like possession and all this sort of, and they can raise demons, and the trailer ruins the whole film. Right. Because it shows all of these like tarot demons, like you've got like the jester, the hermit, and whatnot, and all of these are shown. I think if you just held back, you didn't show it, it would have been a hell of a lot better. It's awful. It's like the most mediocre, like popcorn Blumhouse thing I've seen in ages. Yeah. So I really do miss when trailers, like even 80s stuff, it doesn't reveal too much. Like they can show like the killer, but they don't like jeopardize any of the kills or anything like that. But now it's like, oh, we're going to show this. It's like, well, why do I want to go see it now? You've just ruined it.
Yeah, it's very much like a lot of studios and marketing things. They very
just
much
seems lazy.
Yeah, and they treat the audience like morons, whereas back then, Hitchcock did not treat anyone like a moron. And he, you know, I think the idea of hiding as much of the movie as possible just imagine trying to do that now, because unfortunately you either reveal everything or you advertise for a completely different film. All of a sudden, the one that actually springs to mind, just weirdly, because I was thinking about it recently, was Doctor Strange 2, where the marketing and the synopsis for the film is basically a completely different movie to the one that's actually shown.
Yeah.
And that one is clearly because there was clearly a lot of production troubles. Or even something like Avengers Endgame, where they only advertise the first hour of a 3-hour movie and everything else is completely hidden. So you're going into it, for the most part, completely blind to what the movie actually is, which I think is, frankly, really smart to do. So again, doing a trailer like this where you don't even show a frame is amazing. It's so weird. It's a weird watch. Like, Hitchcock is clearly enjoying himself a little bit too much. It's like, ooh, maybe there's something that's going to happen down these stairs. Ooh, but I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to go over here instead. And it's like, Alfred, come on, really?
You bloody tease.
Yeah. We'll talk about Anthony Perkins first. Unfortunately, I don't feel like I've seen Perkins in really anything outside of his role.
I don't know him in anything bar Psycho, unfortunately.
Yeah, so when I say it's easily his best performance, that doesn't really mean much.
Yeah.
But that probably means a lot for a lot of other people, because let's face it, this is probably the role that he's known for the most, without a shadow of a doubt. And I think the reason why I love it so much is because you could easily interpret Norman as being utterly evil. Easily.
Yes. But
instead, he's also he himself is a victim of the turmoil that's going on inside his mind.
Yeah, it's one of those rare films where it's like, yeah, he's the bad guy, but you feel so sorry for the guy.
Absolutely.
Because you understand why he's the way he is. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like, I wish some horror films would actually just do this with their villains. I mean, I can't really name any other sort of film of this caliber that has a similar kind of villain where you actually feel really sorry for them.
Mm-hmm. And
it's the same in the sequel to Psycho 2 when we saw it at Tyneside, and we were honestly expecting it to be absolute wank. Let's be honest, because like how do you compete with like one of the greatest films of all time? And it turns out it's absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And I think as well, like, so
it's mental.
Yeah, I mean, literally. Like, especially with going into Psycho 2, is that it still explores that turmoil that's inside him, and he's still portrayed as a victim, except this time he's really become the victim, because he's not really absolutely the villain in that. It's still technically, the mother character in various ways now, as I completely forgot actually until I started reading about Psycho 2. I was like, oh yeah, that thing happens. I'll not say what it is in case you haven't seen it, because I did very well to hide from it as well. But bringing back Vera Miles as Marion's sister to essentially force Norman into looking as evil as possible, I was like, actually, you know what? That's exactly what she would do. Because truthfully, and I don't know where you stand with this, Lila Crane as a character in Psycho, I don't really care for, and it's the only and it's closer to a nitpick than an actual criticism, because the movie's absolutely brilliant. I wasn't going to leave this till later, but I love the misdirect consistently with who the lead character is. Like, Janet Leigh is front and center on the poster. So the shocking revelation that she dies about 40 minutes in, or 50 minutes in.
And then it's who becomes the lead. Yeah,
because then it moves over to the private investigator, and then moves over to Lila and Sam. And what that also enables is we're able to see Norman from different perspectives as well, which I think is a very smart thing to do, because it enhances Norman as a character, because we can see the different facets depending on who he's talking to, whether it's a young woman that he's clearly quite infatuated with, to a private investigator that's really making him very uncomfortable, to Sam Loomis, who's just absolutely messing with him completely, because he knows at this point that he's absolutely the one who's at least murdered one person. I think that's a fascinating thing to do, but it also means that Lila, she's in the movie, but I don't think there's that much for her to do. I don't know how you feel on that one.
At least it kind of carries over, though, so it's not a completely flat character, because then in the sequel, it's just... She's actually more or less the villain in the sequel, which is brilliant, because she's just so hell-bent on the fact that Norman has killed her sister.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, understandable, but, you know, that she's not seeing it for how really, like, damaged this poor guy actually is.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've always said it, that I don't think Norman really realises that he actually kills people, because he's obviously got, like, the mother side of him that does all this horrible stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this poor, shy, damaged guy who is just sort of usurped by this really hostile personality.
And I think as well, Perkins is able to give the character more heart than I think any other actor would probably do, or even someone like Vince Vaughn, who just portrays him as just already quite creepy. Whereas with Norman, when like, you're introduced to him, yeah, he's a bit weird, but it's not creepy.
It's not out of the ordinary. He's just a bit of an awkward guy.
Mm-hmm. And I really do appreciate that. But obviously, I think for many people, one of the finest actors in this is, of course, Janet Leigh as Marion Crane, who is just she's so perfect in this movie, and is able to have like a full character arc in like 45 to 50 minutes before she's killed in one of the most iconic moments in cinema. And I don't mean that particularly lightly. It is literally one of the most iconic moments in cinema.
Forgot to mention that that one of her children is someone we know quite well.
Yeah. I didn't realize that until many. In fact, actually, you know what it is? The bit that actually made me realize that was actually a review that Chris Stuckman did for Halloween H2O, and he references
because she cameos in it,
yeah,
which I didn't actually click on until I saw it.
no, I remember pausing that review and being like, "Oh, you're taking the piss!" Shut no, absolutely. And I was like,
"No, shut up."
That's hilarious. That's actually brilliant. But suddenly that reminds me. I was sure that they did consider putting Jamie Lee Curtis in Psycho 2. But then decided not to. I could be misremembering it, but I wouldn't be shocked.
I know there was this thing a while ago that Jamie Lee Curtis did, like, you know, the shower bit, like where Janet Leigh was screaming. She did this like side by side thing to like commemorate the anniversary of something.
Oh, right.
It looked really cool, actually.
Probably better than the Gus Van Sant version. As there's a lot of things. But yeah, I think Janet Leigh is absolutely terrific as Marion, who does make some really bad choices and is punished for it. Naturally, but again, she's also really tragic.
But you know what it is?
In that sense,
it's I quite like how misdirecting it is, because you don't know if she's really a villain, because yes, she robs her employer, but at the end of the day, her employer kind of just dumps 40 grand in front of her. Like, you're not gonna not take that advantage when you've got a lot going on in your personal life.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's really hard to say, oh yeah, she like absolutely deserved to die. No, like she's in a pretty tight spot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like it's such a simple plot, like, because I kind of like how the plot doesn't really reveal much. It's literally just, you know, you've got Marion Crane as a secretary, steals this huge wad of cash from her employer, deciding to go on the run in hopes of starting a new life. She stays the night at the secluded Bates Motel managed by the shy and awkward Norman Bates. And that's it. Nothing is revealed other than that. You just think, what am I really getting into here?
Yeah, exactly. And there is...
And as you say, like 40 minutes, you've got this perfect character arc, and then out of nowhere, killed off. And it's who's the main character now?
See, I don't think... I mean, that as a twist still works so well all these years later. And I am kind of sat there thinking, well, would there have been a version of the movie where you could do, where it's like you say, if it just only does the movie that it says in the synopsis?
Yeah.
There probably is.
Be a completely different film.
yeah, exactly. And I don't know if it would have been better, frankly. All I can say is that it would have been quite different. And like I say, with like the misdirect, it works so well. In terms of like little random trivia fact about the production. I forget that this is the first film to ever show a flushing toilet or a toilet at all.
Really?
Because for some reason Hollywood was like, no, we can't. We can't show a toilet.
Right.
but
we can't show
apparently
a toilet, but we're allowing you to have like somebody die via stabbing.
Yeah, exactly. Just like
toilets are completely out of bounds.
Yeah, like the priorities of the producers. But as far as I know, I think when I watched the making of Psycho feature 90-minute thing, which is terrific, I believe it was the screenwriter that basically went to Hitchcock and said, look, I'm going to speak to the studio because for some reason I really want to have this in. And Hitchcock just could not care less, mostly because it wasn't his idea. He was like, well, no, it's your thing. You go and deal with it. I was like, you couldn't sound any more British if you even tried. It's like, well, it's not my problem. Goodbye. I was like, I love that. And like we said before, for like a film that's renowned for its murder scenes, there isn't really that much violence.
No. Tame by today's standards.
Yeah, which to be honest, you could even say that about the original Halloween as well, which is quite apt considering.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot of blood considering what the film is about. I mean, like you look at the first Halloween film, and then you go to when it was rebooted in 2018, and how brutal that trilogy is. Like, good God,
we may have to talk about kills next year, because even that film was 5 years old, which is scary, actually.
That is quite scary, actually.
Yeah, it is quite scary. The shower scene, obviously one of the most iconic bits in cinema. Mostly just quick cuts and extreme close-ups between 60 and 78 shots. The actual number's quite disputed. There is a documentary called 78 over 52, which is a documentary purely about the shower scene.
Right.
Because of course there is. Like, obviously there would.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like one of the most like iconic shots in cinema ever.
Yeah. What's interesting is that you never actually see the knife cutting Marion. Apparently there was sort of like a fake body created to actually show the stabbings, but they never actually used it. So instead, any of the sound effects are of a knife stabbing a melon.
Oh, the classic.
Melon Crane instead of Marion Crane. Hershey's.
I'm sure that practice is still used in like today's standard as well for like when they get like sound effects. Like, I'm sure they use like all kinds of stuff like that, but it's like you hear a lot of it. Like, yeah, you just can't beat the melon and like the sound that it produces.
So because the film being shot in black and white, they actually had to change the fake blood so it actually looked better in black and white. So usually they'd use quite standard stage blood, which is what they used in the remake. In this case, they used Hershey's chocolate syrup, obviously.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. The other one I really love is actually another fact about the 6-minute trailer. So at the very end, Hitchcock is in Marion's room and then pulls back the shower curtain to reveal technically Marion there. That's not actually Janet Leigh, because this was all done after filming had finished and she was off doing something else entirely. So they actually had to get Vera Miles in a blonde wig to stand in as Marion. But because of the lighting and how immediately the Psycho logo appears on her face, you don't actually see that it's not Janet Leigh. But I just love... I just really like that. I think that's just so weird, frankly. Obviously, when it came to reactions at the time, people weren't quite happy with this. The press actually had more issues with the fact that they couldn't get previews to watch it.
You've missed a trivia.
Oh, get in! Excellent.
I'm shocked you haven't actually mentioned.
That depends. What is it?
I mean, it's not in any way like absolutely like terrific, but
well, there we go, and that's why.
It's literally like toward the start of the film when Marion arrives late to work and Alfred Hitchcock is literally right outside the office, just looking across the street. Yeah. To
be honest, for that one, I kept on forgetting where his cameo was, because I thought his cameo was when she's in the car. As like she sees her employer crossing the road, which, to be honest, as a scene, is surprisingly tense for just sitting in traffic. Yeah. I was like, never before have I been so scared of being stuck in a car, being stared at. It's like, this is brilliant, but that's credit to Bernard Herrmann's score more than anything else. So yeah, sorry, I missed the Alfred Hitchcock cameo because I actually missed it in the film. Although, weirdly enough, I technically saw the recreation of it in the Gus Van Sant version because I was actively looking for it at that point. Like, oh, there he's... Not technically, because Alfred's very much dead at this point, but that's okay. They've still got a larger dude in a hat. That's alright.
Yes. It's an imposter.
Yeah. And obviously, we've got more things for Psycho. There was 3 sequels in 1983, 86, and 1990. Psycho 2, we've already spoken about. We do really like that one. Psycho 3 was actually directed by Anthony Perkins.
I thought... I knew he did a later one. I thought it was 4.
4
3. I haven't seen him.
4 is a pre-sequel, as far as I know, so it does bits and bobs in the like it's a sequel and then delves into Norman's history. But that one was made for TV, which in fairness I think Psycho 2 was initially going to be as well. Then they decided, screw it, we'll put it on the big screen. Obviously we got the shot-for-shot colour remake by Gus Van Sant in 1998. Shocker. And the one that I really hope we talk about at some point, because I think we referenced it, I don't know which episode it was, or at least what number at least, but when we spoke about the best prequels very early on in our podcasting career, I say career, hobby.
If you can call it that.
Yeah, exactly. We just do this all for fun. And I labelled Bates Motel, the TV series, as my favourite.
Yes, I'm very keen to watch that because I've heard that it is just fantastic.
Yeah, and once again, much like as I did back then, I will not delve into spoilers because the series, because I mean, it ran for 5 seasons. It doesn't adapt anything from Psycho until the 5th season.
Right.
And when I say adapt, I mean like it's loose as hell, as it should be. Because when you've got the likes of Gus Van Sant hurling a load of rubbish of like, oh, well, you can't remake Psycho because there's nothing else to do. Well, you can. You just don't do it shot for shot.
Yeah, you don't just be a lazy ass and just do it shot for shot. You actually try bring something new to a remake. That's the whole point. Exactly,
and Bates Motel does a fantastic job of doing that. So I have actually just bought the box set for the first time in years because I haven't owned it for so long. So I'll definitely be giving that a watch again. So if I need to, I'll give it to you, so then you can watch it, and then maybe in the future we can talk about it later. But that's,
and then Dan just turns around, it's absolute pap.
I was about to say, you could easily turn around and say, you know what, stop doing that.
I don't think I would be in that mind, like, because I've wanted to watch it for quite some time, and given the casting behind it, yeah, I'm 100% for it.
Yeah, for sure. Naturally, we haven't had anything Psycho-wise for years since then. That's like the last high profile thing, which to be honest is fine. I don't think there's really anything else you could do.
Well, it's kind of like there has to be an end to it, and it's very similar with Hannibal, because I know like when they try to do this like prequel film that was just horrendously awful, and then they did a TV show with Mads, which I'm still yet to watch because apparently it's really good.
I've heard really good stuff about it, but I mean, it's
there is only so much you can do, and there has to be a cut-off point. I just wish.
I mean,
Halloween would do this. It needs to stop, please.
I mean, technically, it's ended.
Well, isn't there like some friggin' TV show getting made for it or something?
I don't know, and I don't care. I'll probably not watch it.
I've had enough. I've stopped. It's ended now.
Which is really saying a lot for you, because surely you'd be like, oh, actually, yeah, maybe I'll give it a go. You know,
maybe.
Just like a little bit.
Maybe.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But yeah, I'm kind of pleased there isn't anything further, because I would honestly I'm shocked, frankly, as they haven't tried to like reboot it or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm honestly shocked, because this is just what the horror cinema is at the moment. It's like, well, we can't really come up with anything too original now, so we'll just remake something that just doesn't really need a remake.
Yeah. And I think as well, I mean, that it really goes to show that, given the choice between Bates Motel and Psycho for being the best version of that story, I mean, obviously, both are very different in that sense. One is purely its own thing. The other one is 5 seasons worth of build-up, essentially. So
Yeah.
it's gonna feel very, very different. But what the show does is really humanize Norman even more than the film already does, because the film does a really good job of presenting him as a 3-dimensional human being with a lot of problems. And then with Bates Motel, you get to see how that all starts and how traumatizing it is, not just for him but for everyone else around him. And I absolutely adore it for that. And it really stems, shockingly, from Psycho from 1960, which is still one of the finest movies. Full stop, frankly.
Yeah, it is a film that I'd say, like, you have to watch it before you die. Like, there's no excuse. Just watch it.
Yeah, I think, frankly, if you've gone through life having not seen
anybody
Psycho,
who does not like that film cannot be trusted.
Yeah, I don't think I've met anyone who doesn't like it. But also,
yeah,
I think it's just people who haven't seen it.
I mean, I've gone through like consensuses of people like on Letterboxd and stuff, and I think the lowest I've seen it rated is like a 3, and I'm like, well, I sort of understand it, but yeah, you're wrong. Watch it again. Just
You're
watch
wrong.
it again until your opinion goes to either 4 stars or 5.
Yeah. No, for me, it's just it's still one of the finest, absolutely, and it's just a movie that's obviously I will recommend to everyone who wants to watch movies. It's required viewing, absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
You cannot claim to be a film fan if you haven't seen Psycho. Like, it's fact.
I mean, I haven't seen The Godfather either, so am I really classified as that?
Well, that's sort of understandable, though, because it's...
good.
I understand why people don't like The Godfather. I really do.
Yeah,
actually, because it is a stupidly long film.
Yeah, I've got no interest. I mean, I will still read the book. I've got the book. We'll see if I care that much. We'll see. But yes, that is our thoughts on Psycho for its 65th anniversary. So thank you very much for listening to that. Next episode, I can officially confirm properly this time after I think 3 or 4 goes
much
of this
deliberation.
damn thing. Yes, after much waiting more than anything else, because we are recording this on the 26th of August. Tomorrow is when Thunderbolts finally starts streaming on Disney Plus. And we've said for ages we will do a review of that movie, because especially when it comes to superhero cinema in 2025, the only film that beats this we've already spoken about.
Yes.
So we'll talk about the other one, that being Thunderbolts. It's not going to be a retrospective, we'll just treat it like a spoiler review more than anything else. I'll just be really terrified if we come out of that thinking, you know what, actually that film was so mid, I'm not going to bother watching it, or really talking about it, I should say. But yes, we'll be back talking about a Marvel-related thing, which, as I'm looking at the schedule for the rest of the year prior, the only one we did was Avengers Doomsday, and that's not even a film that's out yet.
Yeah.
That really says a lot.
Speculation, more or less.
Yeah. We'll see what happens next year. Yeah. But yes, we'll be back very soon with our review of Thunderbolts, so we'll see you then. And until then, it is goodbye from Dan.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.